Jacob's now. Hey, Jacob, how are you, sir?
We got Jacob.
Okay. Jacob.
What's
Sorry
up,
about that.
guys?
I got a little
It's okay.
confused on time. Do want to though before we get rolling and get your thoughts on Ohio State, and a lot has happened since we last visited with you. But do want to
Yeah,
make sure that people are aware of Peak IV Hydration, peakivhydration.com. What can you tell us, Jake?
100%. Yeah, go check out the website. Like I said every week, guys, just go read about it. Go figure it out for yourself. Me and Dave obviously rave pretty highly about it, and just because we know what it's done for us. You know, what I mean, that's all we can speak from, and again, helped me through pretty much my whole athletic career. Obviously, Dave loves the energy patches and uses them pretty frequently, and you should believe that because we love this product and we just love what they're about, and think that they can help everybody. So definitely go click the link and check them out.
Yep. Want to get your thoughts, Jacob, on some transfers out of the program, and it's happening everywhere. It's not just at Tennessee, but
Yeah.
this is just such a busy time to have guys looking around and transferring. Can you put yourself in that position for a moment? I mean, that's a lot going on.
Yeah, it's just gonna be the way it is, I think. It's just gonna be once that portal opens, it's just gonna floodgates in, floodgates out. That's just the way that it's gonna be for the next little while until everything kind of settles. And I don't even know how much it really settles, right? I think this is kind of just part of the new college football. And I was doing a recruiting seminar actually at Triple F, which is the gym I've mentioned a couple of times. We were talking yesterday, just some of the kids, and somehow different the landscape of college football is just purely because of the transfer portal, right? The NIL is a huge thing, but the transfer portal is a huge thing as well. It gives, kids at smaller schools an opportunity to maybe play at bigger schools. It gives kids that maybe had the opportunity to play at a bigger school and just maybe wasn't the right fit for them to chance to go down and be at the level that they are more comfortable at that they can compete at. And for sure you see, names hit the portal and a lot of these fans, a lot of these people don't really know about these kids, right? So you don't really know what's going on. You don't know their situations. And, I just ask that anybody that sees news about transfer portal and stuff like that, just be super, just obviously, I don't want to say lenient, but just kind of be understanding from where they're coming from. I think a lot of guys get ragged on, and it's a little bit less nowadays because it's so normal. But yeah, just supporting these guys through all their transitions and supporting those that are coming in as well, and welcoming to the family is going to be huge.
Jacob, you had a fantastic support system there in West Knoxville with your
Yeah,
family as well.
yeah.
Not everybody has that. Have you been in
Mm-mm.
situations where you've seen a guy that now that there's NIL money there to be had, that maybe family, friends are making a run at him?
I mean, as far as trying to get money off of you, or as far as like trying to get you, yeah. I mean, this is a huge conversation that you have in the NFL, right? And I wasn't there for long, but just the prep meetings and all the rookie meetings and things like that. It's whenever money gets involved, man, it's just something changes and something happens and everything. But again, luckily for me, I had pretty much everyone that I loved and cared about. Not everybody, right? There's some extended family and stuff, but all my real people were right there with me, and man, saw me through just the grind days of my early career at Tennessee, and saw things really start to shift and change for me. And um, for sure, I think they more or less just were happy about me getting rewarded after some time of just putting a lot of work in, and we're just happy to see me be able to, you know, buy them nice Christmas gifts and be able to buy myself nice clothes and got a car. Like there's just all these things, all these blessings, man, that have come out of it that no man, my family would never, I know you're not saying mine would, but yeah, my family never had their hands in my pockets. I think just because of the way I'm able to give back to them and support them the way they supported me throughout, man, just high school, middle school, just my whole life. So yeah, it's been awesome to be able to provide in any way for them, right? I think scholarship, I know I'm ranting, but we talked about this at the recruiting seminar yesterday too, man. A scholarship to any school is arguably the biggest blessing that a kid can give his parents, and just the ability to provide for himself or herself, um, athletically and financially is super huge. So it's been awesome, man.
So Jacob, just since Dave and I last did the show, just for people to know, since then Nathan Leacock, Nate Spillman, and Cam Selden have all entered the portal. Selden actually has had some roles with Tennessee. How do you weigh this is obviously unique because of the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
How do you weigh the concept of maybe potentially being a contributor in a playoff game versus if you're going to transfer, needing to go ahead and make that move since this is the best window to do it. I mean, what do you do?
It's crazy.
That's the question of the hour. I think that's so yeah, man. I've talked to plenty of guys on the team that are considering, people that are in the portal, had conversations with, and yeah, that's obviously the first question. You're like, dude, this is what you work for. Like, this is the whole reason why we're all up at not all anymore, but that's the whole reason why everybody's up at 6 a.m. in the morning working out, spring practice, fall camp, summer workouts. This is the reason why you do it. You do it for the season, but you do it so that when this moment comes right here and you have a chance to go win everything right in front of everybody, that's what you want, right? So to me, it just is so. I can only imagine how strongly they must really feel about trying to find a new home if that's the opportunity they're giving up. And so, when you think of it like that, it's like, all right, obviously it means quite a bit to them, and they really think that this is the best thing for them. And that's a very, very tough decision to make. And I'm happy I'm not in that position because for sure that's very, very hard. And you wish in a perfect world that the portal didn't even open until the season was over, and everybody could just finish out their seasons. And if you didn't make the playoffs, now maybe you can get in the portal. Obviously that's not fair, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you just wish that there was a perfect situation, but they're just really not.
Well, it just would have taken a couple of semi-intelligent guys to put this together in a better fashion, but they didn't do that 50 years ago, whenever it was. Go ahead, Caleb.
They should have had us on the staff there.
That's right.
Figure it out.
So, yeah. So, Jacob, actually, I want you to go back and answer the question we had right before you came on. I think it's a disappointment if Nico's not in New York before his career is over, at least in the Heisman ceremony, because, I mean, I know you guys don't like to talk about it, but that dude did take a lot of money to go to Tennessee. So
he sure did. Yeah, he sure did. And the Heisman was, I'm not even going to sound, I'm trying not to sound like an old head, dude. The Heisman was once a purely just talent, like guys like Reggie Bush, Derrick Henry, guys that just purely, you look at him and like, that's literally the best player ever. He's the best player in all of college football. That is what that award is. And don't get me wrong, I'm super happy that Travis Hunter won the award. I think he's a very, very special player, very, very special athlete. What he does on both sides of the ball is insane. Guys like Ashton Genty, what he does with the football in his hand is insane, right? But at the same time, I don't see how. I don't know. It's just, I think there's not enough players. There he goes. See you later. I think there's not enough players in contention, but there has to be, right? I don't know. It's a super weird thing to me because I think there's so many people who win this award.
I actually have a theory. I have a theory. Mm-hmm. So I covered a lot of guys that did not get paid NIL money, like you guys were able to take advantage of, and you should. Right. And I said the whole time, 20 years of working in the sports media business, I said that should be the case. And finally it was. But I think there were players that were disenchanted or down about the entire college football experience because they were having trouble making ends meet. I'm not saying it was, across the board, and they probably could have spent their money a little bit more carefully. But I just think the overall level of college football in general is up just from last year because guys realize if they go out and ball out, that they're going to get taken care of in some shape.
You broke off, 100%. Whether that's by your school or by someone else, right? So, that there's, I guess, more motivation to play. There's more, incentive in trying to have really good stats and go and put really, really good numbers up. I think again, that's how it should have been forever. But that's just part of it. And I think it's also, you see the playing field leveling out with all this NIL stuff too, right? I think maybe we've talked about this, but, teams that were worse before, have gotten some pretty good talent, right? Because maybe they could pay for it, whatever. And teams that were super, super good before might lose their 2s and 3s the same way we are. Like Caleb Webb getting in the portal. Like, in my opinion, Caleb's an amazing wide receiver, right? He's got some things here and there. He might not be literally the fastest burner, but good hands, good size, good strength, pretty good speed, runs good routes. He can be a guy that plays football for you, right? But you're going to lose him to Wake Forest, and he's going to go make money at Wake Forest and be a baller there. And that's okay, right? That's just the nature of the game now. It's just every team is going to get ballers, and every team is going to just have to continue to try to supplement their backups and their bench with other people. So I don't know, man. It's totally changed. And John Lee, thank you. I appreciate the comment.
I was a
do
little
my best.
surprised too by Chaz Nimrod, because it was obvious in the middle of the season they thought he could play and they wanted him to play, and that wasn't the case. So that one kind of caught my eye too as well, Jacob.
Yeah, but you also have to think like kids there for 2-3 years. You know what I mean? I don't know exactly where they've been there for 2 or 3. Chaz and Caleb.
Chaz 2. Let me check.
I don't know how, it's not really that important, but he said, why not help Coach Heisman out by taking him to a nice men's store? I'll tell him he said that. But no, yeah, like for a guy that's been there 2-3 years, right? And I think for sure on the inside and in those rooms and stuff, you hear the same message since you've been there, right? I think a lot of kids kind of get stuck in this rut of purely kind of just getting out recruited by the portal, right? I think that if Chaz and if Caleb are players that exist before all this portal stuff went crazy, they would have just been more, I think they would have gotten more developed. They would have become better players and would have been better role players for the team because they would have had to be, right? That was the situation I was in. I promise you, if I was, a freshman, sophomore in this situation right now, I probably would have got out recruited and I probably would not have had a career that I did, just because I would never been forced into this situation wherever I really probably wasn't good enough to be playing or developed enough to be playing. I was kind of thrown into that situation and they couldn't out recruit me because every person they brought in was a freshman, right? And I could figure out how to beat freshmen, but I knew if they brought in a guy like myself my senior year, whenever I was a sophomore or junior trying to actually make my case, right? Like, I'm not saying I would have lost to him. Like, obviously I'm a competitive person, I'm a good player, but who knows what could have happened, right? So that's what happened. That's what's happening to all these young players is they're great players and they have great talent. It just, you go get a guy like Dante Thornton in the portal and pay him however much you pay him. I mean, that kid is a freak, right? Fastest guy on the field, him and Squirrel, like whatever. But I don't know. You got guys like Brew. It's just tough, man. It's especially for a position like receiver, can just be tough. So I'm happy for them, and I'm getting long-winded, but hopefully they go have great success, wherever.
Were you ever close to transferring and seeing if there was more playing time to be had?
Yeah, now that I'm been out of it for a little while, for sure, I think it always goes through a kid's head whenever things aren't going well, right? It's mostly times of adversity and things that you meet that you start having decisions of, or start having questions of like, am I doing the right thing for myself and for my future and all those different things. And to say the least, was going through a lot of adversity the first few years of my career and just didn't really see it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Luckily for me, we hired a really, really good one and a really good person and a good man and a good coach, and got a bunch of really good players and good assistants around me to help support me and help give me the, moral support, but also just the football support that I needed and that I wanted and that I, was looking for. So it worked out.
Jacob, sorry, my power went out and I had to hop.
Took a little break there, huh? A little coffee break.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of that, the idea of transferring and things like that, we've talked a little bit before you came on. You were obviously teammates with Jarrett Guarantano, and you guys had to deal with a lot after Jerry Pruitt and Jim Chaney during those years.
Mm-hmm.
I maintain Tennessee should welcome him back with open arms because he talked about wanting to get back into Vol Nation's good graces over the weekend.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about how much we don't know he was going through during that time? Because I know he was dealing with so much, wasn't he, during the Pruitt years?
Yeah, I mean, that guy was honestly, like, first of all, he's a good quarterback, right? Like, he was never just a terrible quarterback. He always had talent. He always was able to run. He always was able to make throws. There was games he threw for 300 yards, right? Like, he played good ball. I think he also played bad ball, right? Sometimes we all do. We all did. As a quarterback, we've talked about this. It doesn't matter, right? If you play a bad game, like, that's all you. If you play a good game, that's all you. You get all the love, you get all the hate. I think for him, unfortunately, a lot of the hate outweighed a lot of the love, and he was getting more, down putting and discouraging messages than he was getting, encouraging messages. And for any, he was old to me at the time because I was freshman, sophomore. I was young, right? I was just 17, 18 years old. So to me, it looked like, he was, I don't even know how to explain it, but as an underclassman, you look at those guys and you're just like, these guys are just, they're tough, right? They're grown men, right? And then you get to be that point, and I can't even imagine going through that he went through, personally. So, man, anytime I ever see him or I talk to him on social media or something, he's never been nasty to me. He's never been nasty to any of his teammates. He's always just kept it real, man, and just we all kind of understood the situation. He needed to get out, and he was no longer really supported here. Not by us, not by the team or his friends or anything, just purely just by the situation. And it is upsetting, but at the same time, I'm happy that I saw him at one of the games, one of the home games during the regular season, and just, asked him, how are you? And like, I'm happy to see you, right? And in a way that he knew I meant, like, I'm happy that you're here, right? And I'm happy that you're back in Tennessee. I'm happy that you're showing face, right? And just kind of accepting the fact that, yeah, whatever happened. But, he said that a lot of people accepted him and were super happy to see him, and even fans and things like that were happy to see him. So he seems to be in a pretty good place right now, hopefully. I know he's training some kids and doing different things and just using his mind and his talent to continue to further his, his career and things like that. So I'm happy that he finally feels like he's able to come back around and be comfortable here.
Nice. Speaking of training kids, people can do that with you as well, with Triple F. Tell us about that.
100%. You're good at your job, Dave. I appreciate it. Yeah. So kind of just the situation, man. I work at this gym called Triple F Elite Sports Training in Knoxville, Tennessee. I work for a man named Lee Smith, who, if you don't know who Lee Smith is, he's a paddle guy, Knoxville guy who grew up in the area and played 11 years in the league, and then has come back and is trying to make an impact in young kids' lives and just teach them how to be a professional athlete. And obviously, not everybody's gonna be a professional athlete, but there is a way to go about training and a way to go about preparation at the high school level, and that's what we do. So, for sure, I would love to talk to anybody that's interested. I can drop the number in the chat, or you guys can just, find it on any social media or look it up online and get the number and call and just kind of see what we're all about. But would highly encourage you guys with any young kids, middle school, high school, that are looking to get some training and looking to really take their game to the next level. It's where we do it.
Good stuff. I appreciate it, Jacob. We will talk to you next week. We appreciate it.
Of course. See you guys later.